Hello, good people. Hello, and welcome back to another car conversation. Well, Make America Think Again with Shaunavonn. For those of you that can hear me and you're listening to the podcast, and then if you're here with me on YouTube, if you're not here with me on YouTube and you're listening to the podcast, come on over to YouTube. Join us here, working on some things. I'm just trying to work out some extra time, but working on some things so we can have some moments where we go live, have conversations. So I would love for you to join us here on YouTube. Also looking into adding some additional platforms, Substack, Blue Sky. But again, the time is the issue because like many of you, I work. So that has to be done first. So, okay, so I wanted to talk to you really quickly, and I didn't really plan on doing an episode today. So I'll be brief on this information, but I was just making some observations today. And I don't know about you, but this whole focus or this narrative that is being perpetuated by the current administration that we're just looking for waste. We're just looking to trim fat off of these departments. This is the narrative that they're feeding us, to I guess ease, I don't know, or calm some people. It's not doing that for me, but to ease or calm the worries of some people, they're feeding us this narrative of trimming the fat and trimming waste. But I want to point something out to you. So the departments that they are looking into, the departments that they are actually, if they aren't completely gutting them, they are definitely, these departments are now compromised, are all of the life-sustaining departments that we need. So think about it. So you have the FDA. The FDA makes sure that the food that we are eating is healthy. The Food and Drug Administration is the FDA, for those of you that don't know. Make sure that the food that goes to the grocery stores is healthy for consumption, and make sure that the medications that are put on the market are healthy enough for us to ingest in our bodies. So they have, the FDA is on the chopping block, okay? So that's one. The EPA has been cut. So the EPA is a department that really that protects us in regards to like clean drinking water, clean air. Again, these life-sustaining things that we need as human beings for people who have expertise in those areas, scientists, doctors that have expertise in those areas, for them to work in those areas and then to come back to us and say, yeah, it's safe to live there because the air and the water is clean. It's not so safe over there, or you can't eat that meat, or that meat needs to be pulled from the shelves. These are the departments that are on the chopping block right now. Social Security on the chopping block. Whether it's supporting you, maybe supporting your grandmother, your parents, Social Security, or like me, and I've said this repeatedly, I've been working for years, and several years I worked multiple jobs. So the Social Security that I have coming to me down the road, I want it. I want it because it was taken out of my checks since I was 14. Cuts to the CDC. So right now we have multiple diseases, illnesses, however you want to put it. There's right now in the United States, there's the bird flu is running rampant. That's the reason why eggs are so expensive and so scarce. You have the flu. You have, and I have several people that I know who have recently had the flu. RSV. I know someone who recently had RSV. You have COVID. You have a measles outbreak in Texas. And guess what? You probably didn't even know about it because the CDC has been cut. They've been shut down. Also, our continued relationship with the National Institute of Health has been cut, severed. So we're not even receiving information about what's happening in the other countries. So I also saw before I started this podcast, there were two people that were picked up in New York by members of, I don't know, some health team, because CDC has been cut. So I don't know who this was, maybe hospital, maybe it was people from the hospital, but they had on hazmat suits because these people just came from another country and it's suspected that they have Ebola. And this is in New York right now. So, like, none of this information is getting out to folks because these departments have been cut. Again, life-sustaining departments for us. The FAA, planes are literally dropping out of the sky. And on the same day, yesterday, I don't know, I'm quite sure a lot of you did see it. The airplane that landed in Canada but left from America on Delta Airlines and flipped over and landed on its roof in Canada. Literally after that happened, this administration cut more jobs. I think it was 300 to 400 jobs, cut more people, fired more people from the FAA. So the Department of Transportation is now being run by a dude that was on an MTV reality show. He took his kids on Air Force One to the Super Bowl, along with Felon 47 and a lot of other people in Congress. But then they want to come to us and say, but we got to cut departments, life-sustaining departments for you because we're trying to save money. Do you know what it takes, the amount of money it takes to put Air Force One in the air? Do you know how much, like the minimum Super Bowl ticket was like $6,400, $6,500. He took members of Congress to the Super Bowl. He just drove around and flew over the Daytona 500. And we're talking about cutting the fat, trimming waste off the money that's spent by the government. And Felon 47 is doing these things. So you have the Treasury Department, they're all in and up and through the Treasury Department, got access to all of our Social Security numbers, your tax information, where you work, all the jobs that you've worked at, how much was collected. The Department of Labor, I've already did a whole video on this when I was talking about Project 2025. And as a matter of fact, I want to say this. For all of you that are on board now, I'm so happy that you're here. I'm so happy that you're paying attention now. But I have several videos on this page that got 16, 15 views when I was literally talking about giving you full videos about Project 2025. So I don't know if this means that it's got to be in your face or you got to be suffering from it or living through it for you to really acknowledge that it's real, but it's always been real. They literally put in writing what they are doing right now. So back to what I was saying. So the Department of Labor, I talked about this already, getting rid of the ability for you to have to accrue overtime in working. They want to get rid of that. They want to change this whole 40-hour work week schedule so it benefits corporations versus you, the average worker. They want to relax child labor laws. So children, I shouldn't have been working when I was 14. I should not have been. I don't think any kid should be working, like, I don't know, maybe 16, 17, 18. You know, you graduate from high school or maybe summers starting at 16 years of age, but definitely not 14 or younger. But look at Arkansas. Look at, what's her name? Starts with a H, Huckabee, Sarah Huckabee. She's already done this in the state of Arkansas. Relax child labor laws so children are working in factories. Child labor laws were put in place because children were cutting off their fingers and their limbs because they shouldn't be operating heavy machinery. That's why they were put in place in the first place. The right to develop unions. They want to get rid of the Department of Labor because they do not want you to be able to belong to unions. Because what? Unions fight for our rights. Unions fight for our rights. They've gotten rid of cancer research, money and funding for cancer research, Alzheimer's research, diabetes research. So in looking at all this information, here's what I was thinking. Is it truly about trimming waste and spending by the government, trimming the fat, et cetera, this narrative that they're trying to sell us? Or could it possibly be, because the one department they have not touched, they have not looked at, is the Department of Defense. And the Department of Defense routinely every single year gets more money than all the other departments. And then also the Department of Defense fails their audit every single year. So you would think that would be the first department they go to. But guess who has multiple contracts out of the Department of Defense? That's right, Elon Musk. Starlink, um, SpaceX. He's got even a contract here in Orange County. The police department in Orange County, they have cyber trucks. And I got wind of, or it was leaked that, you know, that's what one of the contracts that was coming up for him to supply cyber trucks for all of the police departments, all law enforcement across America. And I forgot the dollar amount that was attached to that, but that's the one department they do not touch. They're not looking at the Department of Defense, the one that has the largest budget every single year. And it's the same department that fails every single audit every single year. So if you can come up with another reason other than the obvious as to why they aren't looking at that department, you tell me, you let me know. And I forgot to talk about the Department of Education. They want to cut out the Department of Education. So they want us, in my opinion, in just looking at this information, one might surmise that they want us to be a bunch of Americans, a bunch of unhealthy, unhoused, poor, uneducated people. And then when you have that, it gives you more control because it makes people more vulnerable. So I really want you to pay attention to what is happening, which departments they are gutting, which departments they are coming after, the weak ass explanations they're giving you as to why they are coming for these departments. And we have no transparency. We have no transparency. They provided none. Elon Musk, Doge, this whole Felon 47 regime, they provided no transparency. So the only thing I can tell you is go back and read Project 2025. It's still out there. Or you can watch the videos that I've posted here, because they have set their intentions. They've let us know what their goals were, but we don't know what all they're doing right now in this moment in those departments, besides destroying them and tearing them apart, and stripping them of all the life-sustaining things that we need. It's just unbelievable. Unbelievable when I really took a look at it, stepped back and took a look at it and said, you know what? These are all the things that people just need to live, to live. I didn't even talk about cutting food stamps and cutting Medicaid, Medicare. All of those are on the chopping block. So you have people that are going to be unhoused, even more than we already have, unfed, jobless, unhealthy. And I'm just wondering, is that the actual goal? Is it the goal to either make us more vulnerable, so we will be at the mercy of this administration, or just kill us off altogether? Just some food for thought. Resist, do not comply, stand down.